From Pelé's farewell to Maradona's miracle, Estadio Azteca rises like a concrete volcano in Mexico City, immortalized as the stadium that has hosted the most World Cup matches. In the early 1960s, Mexico stood at a crossroads. The nation had recently hosted the 1968 Olympic Games, a global spectacle that drove Mexico's desire to be recognized as a modern power on the world stage. But even though football was deeply woven into the fabric of Mexican life, the country lacked a venue that could match its ambition. The Mexican Football Federation, backed by civic leaders and national planners, envisioned a stadium that could not only accommodate international tournaments, but also symbolize Mexico's cultural and architectural progress. To realize this vision, renowned architects Pedro Ramirez Vázquez and Rafael Mijares Alcereza were commissioned. Ramirez Vázquez was already a well-known figure in Mexican architecture, having worked on projects like the National Museum of Anthropology and the Olympic facilities. His building philosophy emphasized both monumental scale paired with functional clarity, a style that resonated with Mexico's desire to project strength and modernity. Together with Mijares Alcereza, he began sketching a design that would embody both efficiency and grandeur. Their plan was audacious, a stadium capable of seating over 100,000 spectators, built to withstand the demands of international competition, and designed to leave a mark on the global imagination. The architects conceived Estadio Azteca as a vast bowl-shaped arena, chosen to maximize sightlines and create an enveloping atmosphere. Unlike traditional rectangular stadiums, the bowl design ensured that every spectator, regardless of class or ticket price, would feel immersed in the spectacle. During construction, reinforced concrete became the material of choice for its durability and flexibility. This allowed for tiered seating that separated social groups while maintaining unobstructed views. But one of the greatest engineering challenges lay in constructing the long-span beams that supported the upper tiers. At the time, there were few stadiums in the world that had attempted such massive spans, and because of the weight of the concrete, builders needed innovative solutions. The result was a structure that combined brute strength with architectural elegance. The stadium's verticality and scale made it instantly recognizable. It was a colossus that dominated the southern skyline of Mexico City. Its design was not merely functional, but symbolic, projecting Mexico's confidence in its readiness to host the world. The philosophy behind Azteca's design was deeply intentional. It was meant to be monumental, imposing, and unforgettable. Every angle reinforced the sense of grandeur, while the acoustics of the bowl amplified crowd noise into a thunderous roar. Constructing the stadium wasn't the only challenge builders faced. Built at an altitude of approximately 2,200 meters above sea level, Estadio Azteca presented unique engineering and athletic challenges. The volcanic soil of Mexico City required specialized foundations to stabilize the immense structure. Engineers devised deep pilings and reinforced bases to ensure the stadium could withstand both geological instability, like earthquakes, and the weight of its massive tiers. But for players, the altitude became a bit of a defining factor. Visiting teams often struggled with reduced oxygen levels, and playing at Estadio Azteca became a test of skills as well as stamina for teams unaccustomed to the conditions. The other challenge, the acoustics. The bowl further intensified the crowd noise and amplified it, producing the legendary Azteca roar. It became a psychological weapon, part of the stadium's identity, a force as intimidating as the altitude itself. Beyond engineering and sport, the stadium's location integrated into Mexico City's urban fabric. Situated in the Santa Ursula neighborhood, it quickly became a landmark not just for football, but for culture and community. Its presence reshaped the area, drawing commerce, transport links, and civic pride. It was a civic monument, a gathering place where national identity was performed and reinforced. By the late 1960s, Estadio Azteca was already a monumental achievement, but hosting the 1970 FIFA World Cup demanded refinements. Mexico wanted to be seen as a modern, technologically capable nation, and the stadium became the centerpiece of its ambition. Locker rooms were expanded, press areas modernized, and seating arrangements adjusted to accommodate international standards. But one of the most influential upgrades was the installation of broadcast infrastructure to deliver matches to a global audience, making it one of the first times millions could watch the World Cup games live in their homes. The upgrades represented a transformation in how football was consumed. Azteca became a global stage, its concrete bowl now wired with cameras, cables, and commentary booths. The stadium's identity shifted from a national monument to international broadcast hub, a place where Mexico's architectural vision met the demands of modern media. The 1970 FIFA World Cup marked Estadio Azteca's grand entrance onto the global stage. Only 4 years after Mexico had hosted the Olympics, the country was once again thrust into the international spotlight. And while Azteca was still relatively new, it became the centerpiece of the tournament. Its towering concrete tiers and high-altitude roar was broadcasted worldwide, introducing millions of viewers to a venue that seemed both futuristic and timeless. Mexico's aspirations for being an icon in sports would depend on its debut. The opening match on May 31st, 1970 would set the tone. Mexico drew a 0-0 against the Soviet Union, a tense game that perfectly showcased the stadium's intimidating atmosphere. The roar over 100,000 fans reverberated through the bowl, amplifying every tackle and near miss. For the Mexican team, the draw was bittersweet, but it was a massive success for Estadio Azteca. On June 3rd, Belgium defeated El Salvador 3-0, a match that highlighted Azteca's ability to host diverse international contests. And just days later, the Soviet Union returned to defeat Belgium 4-1, demonstrating tactical dominance under the glare of Azteca's floodlights. But Mexico's fortunes shifted dramatically on June 7th, when the national team thrilled its fans with a 4-0 victory over El Salvador. The stadium erupted in celebration, and the Azteca roar reached new heights as Mexico announced itself as a contender. On June 10th, the Soviet Union defeated El Salvador 2-0, while Mexico's 1-0 win over Belgium on June 11th secured advancement to the quarterfinals. The quarterfinal on June 14th brought Uruguay against the Soviet Union. In a tightly contested match, Uruguay took the 1-0 win, showcasing defensive resilience and tactical discipline. The game reflected Azteca's ability to magnify tension. Every clearance and counterattack seemed amplified by the stadium's acoustics. Then came June 17th. A moment that not only cemented itself in football's history, but was just what Estadio Azteca needed to secure its place as a global contender. Azteca hosted what would become one of the most legendary matches in football, Italy versus West Germany in the semi-final. The game ended 4-3 in favor of Italy after extra time, but the contest was so dramatic it was immediately dubbed the game of the century. Exhaustion, courage, and relentless attacking defined the spectacle, and Azteca's atmosphere elevated it into myth. The stadium became synonymous with football's greatest drama, its concrete bowl immortalized by the images of players collapsing in exhaustion on the final whistle. The climax arrived on June 21, 1970, when Brazil faced Italy in the World Cup final. With Pelé leading the charge, Brazil delivered a masterclass in attacking football, defeating Italy 4-1. Pelé's header opened the scoring, and his teammates added goals that showcased Brazil's artistry. For Pelé, it was a farewell to the World Cup stage, his third triumph sealing his legacy as the greatest of his era. Azteca became the backdrop for this coronation. The stadium's monumental design seemed to frame the spectacle, its concrete tiers echoing with the joy of Brazilian fans and the awe of the neutrals. The final confirmed Azteca's place as football's cathedral, a venue capable of hosting not just matches, but moments that define the sport itself. Shortly after the triumph of the 1970 World Cup, Azteca entered a period of maintenance and incremental improvement. The pitch was re-leveled and reinforced to withstand heavy use, and seats were adjusted to ensure comfort for the growing domestic audience. The changes were less dramatic than the ones made for the World Cup, but reflected a stadium learning to balance heritage with practicality. Azteca's reputation grew during this era, and Club America made the stadium its fortress, and the Mexican national team continued to draw massive crowds. The stadium's identity as a living monument solidified, no longer just a venue for the extraordinary events, but a daily stage for Mexican football. By the end of the tournament, Estadio Azteca had hosted 10 matches, including the opening game, semi-final, and the final. Its reputation was firmly cemented as a venue of unrivaled drama and spectacle. Both the game of the century and Pelé's farewell ensured that Azteca would forever be linked to football's golden narratives. 16 years after the triumph of the 1970 World Cup, Estadio Azteca once again became the centerpiece of global football. Though Colombia had originally been awarded the 1986 World Cup, political and economic instability forced its withdrawal. Mexico stepped forward and FIFA entrusted the nation with hosting duties for the second time. For Azteca, this was both a challenge and an opportunity. The stadium had to prove it could once again serve as the crucible of football history. Renovations included expanding seating capacity, modernized VIP areas, and upgraded lighting systems to meet global television standards. Press and media facilities were enhanced to handle the growing international demand, reflecting football's transformation into a global entertainment industry. But no one could have expected that these upgrades would set the stage for two of the most epic moments in football history. Azteca would go on to host 9 matches that year, including the legendary Argentina vs. England quarterfinal. The stadium's roar amplified Maradona's hand of God and goal of the century, moments that cemented Azteca as a mythic status. The upgrades ensured Azteca was not just a venue, but a crucible where football's greatest drama unfolded. The tournament opened at Azteca on May 31, 1986, with Bulgaria drawing a 1-1 against the reigning champions Italy. The match set the tone for a tournament defined by drama and unpredictability. On June 3rd, Mexico electrified the home crowd with a 2-1 victory over Belgium, a result that reinforced Azteca's reputation as a fortress for a national team. Mexico continued its campaign of dominance with a 1-1 draw against Paraguay on June 7th, followed by a 1-0 victory over Iraq on June 11th. Each match showcased the stadium's unique atmosphere, the altitude testing players' stamina, the acoustics amplifying every cheer, and the roar of the Mexican fans transforming the venue into a cauldron of national pride. The round of 16 brought Mexico against Bulgaria on June 15th. The home side triumphed 2-0, sending the crowd into delirium and reinforcing the stadium's mythic aura. Just days later on June 18th, England defeated Paraguay 3-0, setting the stage for one of the most iconic matches in football history. On June 22, 1986, Estadio Azteca staged the quarterfinal that would forever define its legacy, Argentina vs. England. The match carried layers of tension beyond football. Only 4 years had passed since the controversial Falklands War, and the rivalry between the two nations added political and emotional weight to the contest. The stadium became the crucible where sport, history, and identity collided. Diego Maradona seized the moment with 2 goals that will forever remain etched into football's mythology. The first, the infamous hand of God, saw him punch the ball past goalkeeper Peter Shilton. Massive outrage erupted among English players and fans, while Argentines celebrated the cunning as nothing short of divine intervention. The roar of Azteca amplified with controversy, echoing with disbelief and jubilation in equal measure. Only minutes later came the goal of the century. Collecting the ball in his own half, Maradona embarked on a dazzling solo run, dipping past 5 English defenders with balance, speed, and audacity before slotting the ball into the net. The stadium once again erupted and its concrete bowl transformed into a theater of genius. Commentators struggled to find words, and fans knew instantly they had witnessed something transcendent. Azteca's atmosphere only magnified the drama. The stadium became inseparable from his artistry, immortalized as the stage where football transcended sport and entered mythology. Argentina went on to win 2-1, advancing to the semi-finals, but the match itself became larger than the tournament. For England, it was a complete heartbreaker. For Argentina, it was a vindication and pride. For the world, it was proof that Estadio Azteca was not just a venue. It was the arena where football's greatest individual performances unfolded. On June 25th, Argentina returned to Azteca to face Belgium in the semi-final. Maradona once again delivered brilliance, scoring twice to secure a 2-0 victory. The stadium, now firmly associated with his artistry, seemed to embrace him as its chosen hero. The final on June 29th brought Argentina against West Germany. In front of a packed Azteca, Argentina triumphed 3-2, with Jorge Burruchaga scoring the decisive goal. Maradona as captain lifted the trophy, cementing his place in history and Azteca's reputation as the only stadium to host 2 World Cup finals. The 1986 World Cup elevated Estadio Azteca from iconic to legendary. 9 matches unfolded within its walls, but it was Maradona's quarterfinal masterpiece that defined the tournament and the stadium's identity. Azteca became synonymous with genius, controversy, and drama, the place where football's greatest individual performances unfolded. For Mexico, hosting a second World Cup reinforced its status as a global football power. For the world, Azteca became immortalized as the stage of Maradona's miracle, a venue that has now witnessed both Pelé's farewell and Maradona's triumph. As football has entered a modern era, Azteca faced new challenges though. New safety regulations, fan expectations, and technological advances demanded continuous adaptation. Seating in certain sections was replaced with individual chairs, sadly reducing maximum capacity but improving comfort and compliance. Sound systems and video screens were installed, transforming the fan experience into a multimedia spectacle. Access points were expanded to handle larger crowds more efficiently, reflecting the stadium's role as both a sporting vehicle and a civic hub. As it has always done, Estadio Azteca evolved to match the expectations of the fans and world who saw it as a world-class stadium. It protected both its proud history and culture while adapting to the needs of the 21st century. The 2010s brought on a bit of luxury and hospitality upgrades as well. Azteca added club-level areas, refurbished interior spaces, and new luxury boxes crafted to corporate clients and international visitors. Unfortunately, the upgrades and modern luxuries come with the cost of further cuts to Azteca's seating capacity. And while fans saw it as a negative, it was a small price to pay to stay competitive and keep up with the expectations many fans had at the more modern stadium. The transformation, however, reflected the broader trends in football, namely commercialization, sponsorship, and blending of sports and entertainment. Yet Azteca retained its soul. The concrete bowl, the altitude, and the roar remained unchanged, preserving the stadium's identity as the interior has evolved. This campaign represents the culmination of Azteca's evolution. Far from its origins as a monumental bowl to its role as a modern entertainment hub, the stadium has continually adapted while retaining its identity. Even upcoming 2026 renovations will ensure Azteca will not only host matches, it will reaffirm its place as the most historic stage in the World Cup history. In 2026, Estadio Azteca will achieve a milestone unmatched in football history. It will become the first stadium to host matches in 3 different FIFA World Cups. Having already staged the finals of 1970 and 86, Azteca prepares itself to welcome a new generation of players and fans. It's an achievement that cements its status as football's most enduring cathedral, a venue that bridges eras and embodies the sport's continuity. And if you thought Mexico couldn't make it into its legendary stadium any better, you're absolutely wrong. Ahead of the 2026 World Cup, Estadio Azteca embarked on its most ambitious renovation yet. Plans included hybrid pitch technology for durability, redesigned seating and concourses for circulation, modernized locker rooms, and structural reinforcement to preserve the iconic bowl. LED screens, advanced lighting, and sound systems were installed, while VIP media and broadcast areas were expanded to meet FIFA's highest standards. Accessibility improvements ensured inclusivity, reflecting football's global reach. Estadio Azteca's role in 2026 is more than logistical, it's symbolic. Hosting matches across 3 World Cups demonstrates the stadium's resilience and relevance. In the history of stadiums, few venues have endured so long without losing their aura, and even fewer have still remained central to both national and global football. For Mexico, Azteca's third World Cup is a source of immense pride, a reminder that the gamble of wanting to be respected around the world has paid off. For decades, Estadio Azteca has been the beating heart of Mexican football. It's the home of the Mexican national team and also where it plays its most important matches. Victories at Azteca carry symbolic weight, reinforcing the stadium's identity as a shrine of national pride. Club America, one of Mexico's most successful teams, has also made Azteca its home, ensuring that the stadium remains central to domestic football week after week. Generations of fans have grown up with Azteca as the backdrop to their sporting memories, making it inseparable from the nation's footballing identity. Like many other stadiums around the world, Azteca's significance extends beyond Mexican football. The stadium has hosted international friendlies, concave tournaments, and surprisingly even some NFL games, introducing American football to Mexican audiences. These events demonstrate the stadium's versatility and ability to adapt to different sporting cultures. For visiting athletes, playing at Azteca is a unique experience. Its altitude, acoustics, and sheer scale create conditions unlike any other venue. Concerts have also transformed Azteca into a cultural arena. Global icons such as Michael Jackson, U2, and Shakira have performed here, drawing crowds that rival the size of World Cup audiences. The stadium's monumental design amplifies sound as effectively as it amplifies crowd noise, turning concerts into unforgettable spectacles. Azteca's cultural significance lies in its ability to embody Mexico's identity. The stadium's roar is not just a noise, it is the sound of a nation asserting itself. For many Mexicans, attending a match at Azteca is a rite of passage, a moment of connection to both sport and country. What makes Azteca remarkable is its ability to remain relevant across decades. Renovations have modernized its facilities, but its essence remains unchanged. It is still the concrete volcano, roaring with history, and still the place where Mexico gathers to celebrate, protest, and remember. From its opening in 1966, Estadio Azteca's defining feature has been its monumental concrete bowl. And unlike many stadiums that have undergone radical redesigns, Azteca has retained its original from across decades. The vertical tiers, sweeping curves, and enveloping acoustics have remained unchanged, ensuring continuity of identity even as renovations have reshaped its interior. This preservation reflects a deliberate choice. Modernization must serve the stadium's essence, not erase it. While Azteca has undergone numerous renovation cycles, it has done so without dismantling its core. In the 1970s, broadcast infrastructure transformed Azteca into a global television stage. In the 1980s, the expanded seating and lighting upgrades prepared it as a surprise second World Cup. The 1990s and 2000s introduced individual seating, sound systems, and video boards, reducing raw capacity but enhancing comfort and safety. The 2010s brought luxury boxes and hospitality areas, aligning Azteca with global trends and commercialization. But despite all these changes, the stadium's silhouette remained constant. Fans entering the venue still encounter the same towering tiers and the same enveloping roar. Renovations modernized the experience but never compromised the stadium's monumental identity. Azteca's architectural evolution illustrates that delicate balance between heritage and modernization. Unlike Wembley Stadium in London, which was demolished and rebuilt, Azteca has chosen continuity. Its upgrades have been more additive rather than transformative, layering modern amenities onto its historic foundations. It's an approach that preserves the stadium's aura while ensuring relevance in the 21st century. The decision to retain the bowl reflects cultural priorities. For Mexico, Azteca is not just an infrastructure, it's a national symbol. Any kind of alterations to the form fans have known for decades would risk erasing collective memory. By preserving its architecture, Mexico safeguards the stadium's role as a living monument, ensuring that fans who enter today experience the same as ones who entered and witnessed Pelé in 1970 or Maradona in 1986. This is how Azteca's architectural identity is endured across generations. For older fans, it is the same colossus that hosted the game of the century, while for younger fans, it is a modern venue with LED screens and luxury seating. This dual identity, a well-balanced mixture of ancient and modern, monumental and comfortable, defines Azteca's uniqueness. Few stadiums can claim such continuity, and fewer still can claim that they have hosted more World Cup matches than any other. Estadio Azteca holds a distinction no other stadium can claim. It is the only venue to have hosted 2 FIFA World Cup finals, and soon with the upcoming 2026 tournament, it will be the first to host matches in 3 different World Cups. Across its history, Azteca has staged 19 World Cup matches, more than any other stadium in the world. This record alone elevates it into a category of its own, a venue synonymous with football's greatest stage. From its conception in the 1960s, Estadio Azteca has stood as one of football's most enduring monuments. Literally rising from volcanic soil at high altitude, it has been both a fortress and a cathedral, a place where architecture, cultural, and sports converge. Its concrete bowl has amplified the roar of generations, transforming matches into myths and victories into national memory. Across its decades, Azteca has hosted moments that define football's narrative. In 1970, Pelé's unforgettable farewell and Brazil's artistry crowned the stadium as a global icon. In 1986, Diego Maradona's genius, the famous hand of God and goal of the century, immortalized Azteca as the crucible for both controversy and brilliance. Arguably no other stadium has carried such weight in shaping the sport's mythology. Yet, Azteca is more than just a stage for legends. For sports fans, it is Mexico's spiritual home, the fortress of its national team, the arena for Club America, and the gathering place for its concerts, civic rallies, and cultural events. Renovations have modernized its facilities, but its essence remains unchanged. The monumental bowl, the altitude, and the acoustics continue to define its character. Estadio Azteca is not simply a stadium, it is a living monument. It has endured as the concrete volcano of Mexico City, roaring with history and now preparing to welcome future stars of the world's favorite sport. Its story is one of continuity and transformation, of architecture and atmosphere, of sport and society. For generations of fans, players, and architects, Azteca remains unparalleled, inspiring awe and reverence as the eternal cathedral of the world's game.